I just had an amazing run through the southern half of the Three Sisters Wilderness, and now Sarah's going to join me for the northern half.
I've only seen the trail through Matt's lens, so I'm really excited to see the beauty firsthand, and this lake is a great start.
We took a moment to rest and played some tunes for this curious squirrel. Now we're back on the trail. We've got a few miles to make before we can find a choice campsite. Nice. Flexos.
I hit flex to say, hey girl.
Hey girl.
Take a breath.
Do the hip flexor dance.
Ooh, that's nice.
The hip flexor dance. I don't know what that is, but it could be a new thing.
Oh yeah.
After 10 miles, I need more than just that hip flexor dance. Whew, I'm pooped.
Doing it.
So Sarah and I, we just hiked in. We're about 10 miles in the Three Sisters Wilderness and setting up camp. And tonight I'm going to set up a, this is a hyperlight tarp tent setup. So there's a ultralight tarp in here as well as a 2-person tent that strings up. So gonna get that all set up. I don't know if we'll set up the tarp because the weather's nice, but the tent part, we'll bring it up just to have a little barrier between the ants and add a little warmth. So Sarah and I, we just made camp for the evening. She's camping with me finally. She's out in the field, and so we brought this super light tent set up. It's basically, this weighs a pound, just the screen house alone, and then you can put an ultralight tarp over it. So if you want to kind of configure your shelter in different ways, this gives you a little bit more options. So this is pretty cool. This is actually made by Hyperlight, and you can see it'll fit both of us in there comfortably.
This is actually really nice, you know. I thought it'd be a lot more uncomfortable. But you always make things very nice. Look at this silk liner or wool liner here. Look at this. Wool liner, ultralight sleeping bag, and I got a blanket. Not only a blanket, but like an Arctic blanket. I think I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moon is beautiful tonight. It's a little bit over a half moon, I think. Can you see?
Yeah, there it is right through the screen. You see it?
Yeah, so life's good.
Pretty nice.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. All right. Clouds rolling off that top of that mountain. Starting to get frosty too on the ground. It was such a peaceful, still morning, but about 2 hours later, the winds came.
We're in the Three Sisters Wilderness on our second day, and I don't know what time it is. Maybe it feels like it's 7 in the morning, but I bet it's more like 9. And it's windy and lovely, but it's nice. These meadows that we come across are absolutely gorgeous and windy, but then it's nice to get into the shelter of the trees every now and then, and yeah, and that's what's happening. And if you look up there, I think that's the South District, and the dust is kicking off of it. So you can imagine if it's this windy down here, how windy it must be up there, and how grateful I am to be down here and not up there. And the birds. Life. You know, it's so cool because you only get these kind of experiences when you really head out into this backcountry, and it's not necessarily unpleasant, but it's definitely not being cozy up in a bed in front of a fire. But it's probably the most beautiful sights I've ever seen, ever. And I guess there is that price, that little bit of discomfort, but it's well worth it. So we just got back from our hike together. It was really wonderful spending that time with Matt out there, where he really does thrive. I only had intended to go about 10 miles and then spend the night with him, and then head back to the car this next morning. But it just started to become more and more beautiful. So I decided to keep walking with him, and that try to go the whole way. And the morning started out just so still and so serene, and then probably about an hour into walking it, the wind just started to go, it got so intense, and it became so cold, and it was just, and I was not prepared. I was definitely not prepared for that type of weather, and it was just so hard. And then, about 10 miles into the second day, I was just done. My legs, my hip flexor was just, I could barely lift my right leg, and my whole legs were just, cramping up, and I was just miserable, unfortunately, and I was humbled. Mother Nature, she got me. And, I learned a lot of lessons. I learned that, I really do have a lot to learn about being with the land, and preparing. Always be prepared, mentally too. It's a lot of it is that mental preparation, and just being strong mentally, which I understand that I have a lot to learn in that aspect. And secondly, it really just strengthened my respect for Matt. Everything that is on the screen or the TV or however people are watching him, that's real, and that's all him. At home I witnessed that because he practices these things every day. He lives off grid. He lives out in way out there, and
it's just, but when he comes out here, on the trail, like he's just so happy, whether the wind is like blowing and it's freezing or it's blistering hot and it's, it's a stale day. He's always smiling, and I have a lot to learn about that. And that's what makes, I have just so much admiration for that in him. And it's such an honor to be able to share this time with such an amazing human being. Absolutely amazing human being. So now it's time for some rest for me.
There goes Sarah. Heading off. Just picking up this section over here. So I'm back heading through the Sisters Wilderness. It was awesome for Sarah and I to walk together for a little bit. It was good opportunity to spend some time in the backcountry with her. It was a tough hike, a little bit of up and down, and very windy and cold that day. So we ended up popping off the trail a little bit early to get out, and Sarah's hip flexor was a bit sore, which happens. I mean, she did amazing, but when you get right on the trail and just get at it, it's easy to get sore muscles and joints. So I'm just heading back right now. There's a 10-mile section through this area that I'm just picking back up. It's pretty awesome terrain here. You can see all around me. There's these huge boulders and rocks, and off in the distance there's another mountain range, and it's pretty cool to see the diversity in the trail now. I'm starting to get lakes, lava fields, everything else in between. Pretty amazing. So out on these boulder fields, the trail gets a little more technical, and I really enjoy it. There's a lot more twists and turns, a lot more rocks to hop over, and it becomes a little more dancey, which is what I'm used to back at home. I do most of my runnings cross country, so you kind of got to pick your way, be a little slower, look down at your feet a little more, not quite as much at the camera, if that's what you're doing, like a numbnut. But yeah, beautiful out here this morning. Whenever I'm out on long trail runs like this, one of the things I try to do, whether I'm wearing my cutoff running shoes or my Huarache sandals, I like to get barefoot for at least a mile a day, because I just feel like it reminds me of how to run, connects me to the ground, strengthens my feet, and in the long run that does prevent injuries. So get out there, get some happy feet connected to the ground. After being on this trail a few hundred miles, I keep coming to myself and asking, what is it that I love so much about running, walking, traveling on the land? And I think it's just, it's just simply said, there's a meditation to it. Your feet, they keep this beat, and you just get lost in that space, and all your worries just sort of slip away. And also, it's you're really connected out there. You get to see all this new terrain. It's like every little turn offers something different. And there's not tinted windows from a car that's removing you from that experience. You're just directly out there. And, I really think, as human beings walking upright, whether you're a walker or a runner, it doesn't really matter, if you're blessed to be able to do either one of those activities, do them, because it'll just help so much with perspective, life, and just getting out there and being able to access the land.